Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to America Reignited. I am Nicholas Maloney, and we are here today to discuss some very important and exciting news. We have this couple of articles here from USA Today. Israel and Hamas agree to a peace deal. Here's what we know. Donald Trump announced a peace deal between Israel and Hamas to end the two-year-old war in Gaza on October 8th, so pretty much almost exactly 2 years after the conflict started. President Donald Trump announced on October 8th that Israel and Hamas have agreed to implement the first phase of a peace deal aimed at ending the two-year conflict. And it's his peace deal, so he deserves credit for it. You can rest assured of that. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America, Trump said in a Truth Social post. Leaders from Israel, Hamas, and mediator Qatar subsequently confirmed the deal. An agreement was reached on all the provisions and implementation mechanisms of the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire agreement, which will lead to ending the war, the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners, and the entry of aid, Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson wrote on X. The agreement comes after multiple failed attempts to defuse the two-year-old war that began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas attacked Israel, killing 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking 251 people hostage. Israel's response to the attack has increasingly drawn criticism worldwide, including a United Nations report issued in September that concluded that Israel committed genocide in Gaza. Israel's military campaign in response has killed more than 66,000 Palestinians in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. What are the details of the deal, you may ask? Well, Al Ansari of Qatar wrote on X October 8th that the details of the deal would be announced at a later date. The first phase of Trump's plan called for the release of Israeli hostages within 72 hours of an agreement in exchange for the release of Palestinians jailed in Israel. Once every hostage has been released, Trump's plan said Hamas members who agree to give up their weapons would receive amnesty. It also called for the immediate restoration of humanitarian aid, which is desperately needed. I mean, Gaza's looking pretty rough right now. They've really ripped that place apart. Al Jazeera quoted a statement from Hamas saying that the organization had submitted lists of Palestinian prisoners to Israel, according to the criteria agreed upon in the ceasefire agreement. Hostages are likely to begin to be released on Monday, October 13th, although they could be returned sooner, U.S. officials have said. Trump said he expected their release to come on Monday or Tuesday. Of the 48 remaining hostages in Gaza, 20 are believed to be alive. The U.S. knows where most of the living hostages are, Trump said in an October 9th cabinet meeting. The bodies are a bigger problem because some of the bodies are going to be a little bit hard to find, the president said of the roughly 28 who are assumed to be deceased. Trump did not spell out what the next phase of the Middle East deal would look like, but he indicated it would follow the 20-point plan he released at the end of September. There will be disarming, there will be pullbacks, there will be a lot of things that are happening, Trump said. I think you could end up with peace in the Middle East. Which is, I don't know if you noticed, it's kind of hard to pull off. We'll see what happens. He also said the U.S. would be working with immensely wealthy countries to rebuild Gaza. I hope not at any expense of our own, Mr. President. I don't mean to be criticizing you here, but please don't make the American public pay for that. Nobody wants it. And this is not our issue to deal with or fix. We know that. He declined to take a stance on an independent Palestinian state, telling journalists during his cabinet meeting, I don't have a view, I'm going to go with what they agree to. Will the Trump-brokered deal end the war? The deal appears to be a step toward ending the brutal conflict. However, a previous ceasefire during negotiations to end the conflict fell apart in March. Israel conducted airstrikes into the battered enclave on March 18th that ended a truce that began in January. Al Jazeera reported that Israel continued operations following the announcement, including fighter jets that have bombed western areas of Gaza City, striking at least one house in an al-Shadi camp and an armored vehicle laden with explosives near homes south of Gaza City. No casualties have been reported. Israeli military, Arabic spokesperson, Avishai Adriyi warned Gaza residents in an ex-post that the area north of the Gaza Valley is still considered a dangerous combat zone shortly after 5 a.m. in Jerusalem on October 9th. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on X that he would convene the government to approve the deal on October 9th, calling it a great day for Israel. The Israeli Defense Forces said in a statement to the Jerusalem Post that it welcomed the agreement, but remained ready for any scenario. During a situation assessment held last night, the Chief of Staff instructed all forces on all fronts to prepare strong defensive measures, the Israeli military said in the statement. Families and supporters of Tel Aviv's Hostage Square celebrated news of Hamas's acceptance of Trump's deal. Dozens of people and TV cameras flooded the square at 4 a.m. local time. The plaza has been occupied for 734 days since Hamas's brutal attack, during which militants kidnapped 251 people. Among those in the crowd were former hostages Emily Damari, Omer Shem Tov. You feel happiness and pressure because until you have reached your mother and hugged her, it hasn't happened, Shem Tov told I-24 News. Hamas's response. Hamas has appeared willing to hand over governance of Gaza to a coalition of Palestinian technocrats as part of the plan. It has been less willing to completely disarm and commit to playing no future role in the government of Gaza. In a statement, the group thanked Trump for his efforts to end the war and bring about a full withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza. Our people's sacrifices will not be in vain, that we will remain faithful to our pledge and will not abandon our people's national rights to achieve freedom, independence, and self-determination. A statement posted to Telegram said, according to Reuters. Israeli news outlet Walla reported that 4 prisoners demanded by Hamas, Marwan Barghouti, Ahmed Sadat, Hassan Salamah, and Abbas al-Said will not be released as part of the deal. The peace agreement was praised by the UN Secretary General here. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in a statement on X that he welcomed the deal and commended the diplomatic efforts of the United States, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey. He pledged that the UN would support the implementation of the deal and ramp up humanitarian aid. The stakes have never been higher, he wrote. American voices praised the deal with varying degrees of enthusiasm. House Speaker Mike Johnson credited Trump for the peace deal. He said, quote, through strength and conviction, he's accomplished what others have only talked about, bringing hostages home, security for Israel, and laying the groundwork for lasting peace in the Middle East, Johnson wrote on X. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, said in a statement on October 8th that Trump had brought the world closer than it's ever been to peace in Gaza. This deal only works if Hamas follows through and Israel, he added. I added the Israel part. He didn't say that. We don't trust terrorists. We trust results, he said. Ultimately, it's going to be up to both sides whether they want to keep the peace or not. And we're going to see how it works. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said the agreement brings a huge sigh of relief to the hostages' families. Even Chuck Schumer is kind of on board with it. Look at that. The things you see, huh? We must begin the even harder work of closing negotiations to end the war, to start building the day after in Gaza without Hamas, to surge humanitarian assistance to Palestinians in Gaza, and to build a lasting peace that ensures security and dignity for Israelis and Palestinians alike, Schumer said in a statement. Yeah, but Schumer, who's going to pay for all that? This is what I don't get. Who's going to pay for all this stuff? I mean, I hate to be like, Mr. Moneybags here, but really, I don't think Americans should have to pay for this stuff. It's not our problem to solve. The people that are really in this problem, Israel and Hamas, are both very privileged to have us trying to solve it for them, and we ought not to be spending money on this. We ought not to. It's not good. That's not putting America first. Pro-Israel Democrat Senator John Fetterman praised the deal on X, calling it historic. Now enduring peace in the region is possible, the Pennsylvania senator wrote. Jewish anti-Zionist organization Jewish Voice for Peace said in a statement that it looks forward to the release of both Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners, but it noted that the deal does not address what it called the root cause of injustice. Well, a ceasefire does not bring an end to the genocide. Right now, we are holding tightly to the hope that Israel will, in fact, finally be compelled to the first elements of this agreement, halting the mass killing of Palestinians through bombardment and stopping its blockade of food and medicine, the organization wrote. Requests for comment to Democratic Representatives Rashida Tlaib and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as well as Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, each of whom has been critical of Israel and supportive of the Palestinian cause, did not give a response by the late evening of October 8th. So, the people on both sides of the aisle seem to be on board with it, which is good, because it's kind of rare to see that these days, apparently. And it's a good step in the right direction. I'm very happy that this is working out. I just want to say that it's up to Israel and it's up to the Palestinians whether they want to keep this deal or not. Okay? And if either one of them decides not to keep the deal, I think maybe we ought to just remove ourselves from the situation because we're putting in a lot of effort trying to solve this crisis here. And maybe it would be better spent elsewhere trying to solve the crisis in Ukraine, which is still ongoing, and I'd really like to see that get ended. So, we'll see. I think it's a positive step to be sure. I just hope it holds. Now, there's this other question here developing about whether Trump will get the Nobel Peace Prize or not. I think it's a very interesting development. We have this other article from USA Today. Trump says he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Does he? The Swedish chemist, engineer, and inventor Alfred Nobel liked a uniter, not a divider, even though his own experiments were aimed at blowing things up. Nobel, who died in 1896, invented dynamite. I actually didn't know that. That's before I read this article, I had no idea. That's kind of fascinating, isn't it? Still, according to his will, Nobel wanted the Peace Prize award that carries his name to go each year to the group or person who has done the most or best to advance fellowship among nations. Does that sound like President Donald Trump, who openly conveys the award? This year's recipient will be announced on October 10th in Oslo, Norway. So I guess tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see for sure. I think maybe Trump should get it. I mean, he at the very least did end that conflict between, the conflict with India and Pakistan. That could have gotten real ugly. They both got nukes, right? So maybe that's worth something, to be sure. Has Trump been hostile to other nations? Of course, but so has every other leader. I mean, let's be real about it. So it's another interesting development that's going on right now, and it'll be very, very interesting to see exactly how things pan out. But we'll keep you posted on that. And I'd like to thank each of you for tuning in. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time talking with all of you and bringing this news to light. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in, and I'd also like to ask what you all think of this. Do you think Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize? Do you think the ceasefire will hold? Where do you think things are going to go? I'd like to hear from each of you in the comments below, so please do leave a comment down below. Make sure you like the video and subscribe so we can get the word out and build this community to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I will continue to keep you folks informed, and thank you all once again for tuning in. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care.